Simanani Dumelang and hello. Welcome to UJ Sports on UJTV. Libizalaka Kimpumelelo Dlamini, and today we have one of those exclusive interviews. I'm never alone, like always. I'm here on my left. The first candidate we have Tanya Shaba. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Give us your own introduction.
Hi guys, I'm Tanya Shaba. I'm Zimbabwe's finest.
Hey! And on my further left, we have Nyasha Goners. Hi, babes.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Nyasha Tsashik. It's a long name, so you can call me Nyasha or just Nyash Nyash for those who really know me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. And we have the UJ Varsity Cup captain on the furthest left, Calvin Kaninungu. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Your own introduction?
I'm Calvin Kananungo, born and bred in Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe's finest.
Okay, I see the competition.
Period.
It's the finest. I wonder who will win at the end. But guys, we're only here to find out how the passion began. We come from a World Cup right now. And fortunately enough, you guys also witnessed that. I just want to know where the journey and the passion really began. We can start with Calvin. Let's give it to Calvin.
Well, the passion began, I think I was around about 7 years old. I was doing athletics at the time, and rugby never used to be a thing for me until one of my teachers just asked my parents if I could just slot in on a random sports weekend because they didn't have enough players. And I remember the first try I scored was actually a own try. I went to go score at my own post. So after that, I took a break and then I watched the Springboks play the one time in Port Elizabeth, and then that's where my passion sparked off.
Yeah. So you watched the Springbok, your first try. You scored an own try. Interesting journey. But we'll jump into it slightly. We'll jump into it. Let's give it on to Zimbabwe's finest, Madeline.
So like, it started high school. Yeah, I was in grade 9. I didn't want to do rugby. I had watched my dad play rugby before. I'm like, such violent thing, no. Then my friends like, let's go, man, it's fun. Then, got there, superstar, you know me.
Hey.
So yeah, that's how it started.
Interesting. This was a couple of years ago. This was 6 years ago.
6 years ago, yeah.
And look where you are right now. And Nyasha?
Funny story, really, for me. I only started playing rugby as a punishment. So in my school, you were not supposed to walk on the rugby fields. You know how sacred rugby is. So I walked in the field one day, and they made me do like bear cruise all over the field. I came back the following day, and then just started practicing with everyone. And before you knew it, I became a star. It's high school like that.
Testament, punishment became a superstar. I get it. It's fine. It's fine. But for those who do not know, today's episode, we joined by national players. These players have played 7s, 15s. There's nothing they haven't played. But guys, I really want to get us out of the zone. Let's play an icebreaker. Who's most likely to? So how the game goes, who's most likely to? If you guys think you know the answer, do you point at the person who it is? If it's you, point at yourself, and then I'll give you the correct answer. Are you good?
Yeah.
Ready?
Go.
All right. So the first one, who's most likely a Varsity Sevens title holder? Okay, I see Nyasha's pointing at Calvin. Well, the answer is all of you guys.
Really?
You guys all have a Varsity Cup Sevens title to your name.
Yeah.
The second one was, who's most likely represented Zimbabwe at the Olympic qualifiers?
Yes.
I was waiting for that hand to change to you. That is actually true. It is Nyasha and Calvin. Who was most likely the MVP at Craven Week Games?
Should be.
Okay, that is true. Both of you guys were actually MVPs at Craven Week. Interesting fact. Who is most likely to play more than 3 positions?
Ooh.
And Tanya.
Guys, what's
Okay,
going
guys.
on?
And Tanya.
What's going on?
And Tanya.
Okay, so I will give it to Tanya and Calvin. Nyasha?
I am a focused person. I know what I want, and I'm grounded. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yes.
Who's most likely to have captained the national team?
This one.
Tanya, you're wrong. It's Nyasha.
Okay.
Who's most likely nominated for Sportsman or Woman of the Year at the University of Johannesburg?
Our captain.
Okay, that was simple.
Captain.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for that. Actually, speaking of which, Sportsman of the Year, how did that come about? How did you feel?
No, it's a privilege at the end of the day, you know, because while you're going through like the process of playing your games, that's like the last thing on your mind, like, because you're more focused about what's going on now. So it's always a shock when it happens, because you're like, really? And then you actually look back and see, okay, but I actually did this and that throughout the year.
Yeah. And I'm sure you also look back at the season where, ladies, you also had the opportunity to play the varsity, the first ever Women's Varsity Cup 15s this year. Exciting as well. But how did that also feel for yourself? It's something that you've looked forward to, something you've worked very hard to achieve, and now you're here sitting with silver medals.
I'll admit, it was phenomenal. It was, of course, we were runner-ups, but we did expect more. However, I feel like it might not have been the best we did, but it was enough at the time. And that was the greatest experience I've had so far at UJ, the Varsity 15s, which was nice.
And also, with the Varsity Cup 15s, education was a part of it. It was tough.
Oh,
What did you do?
Cool.
What did you do to keep yourself moraled or grounded?
thank you.
Okay, well, with our team, I believe, the ladies' team, it's more family than acquaintances or players.
No.
So when one of us is down, best believe somebody's going to pick them up any minute of the day. And for the Varsity Cup, we knew that we were in it together, and whatever we did wrong, we did it wrong together. And it's not all the negative things that we took from that. We learned how to pick up from where we had our shortfalls. We brought each other up, and our coaching staff at the time, they were really supportive, because, you know, the inputs that we had put in and the results, it wasn't really matching. But then it was great to be surrounded by those girls, because personally they pick me up every time. It's such a loving surrounding with those girls. The atmosphere is always welcoming, and it feels like a home more than anything else. So it was just perfect with them. Even in the loss, we just felt good about ourselves.
And that's also nice.
To add on to what Nyaja said, and like us being family doesn't only happen on the field. Even when we're at race, if you're short of something, you can just say, hey, show me. Please help me out. And they will. So like, yeah.
That is true. And Calvin, we speak about a sisterhood on one side. You captained the boys. 2022 was a different year. 2023 was also another different year. But how do you find the change, and how do you actually keep everyone motivated within brotherhood?
Well, that process actually starts during a preseason. You know, that's when you actually get pushed as an individual to like a very dark place in terms of your training wise and mentally, because you have exams that you're worried about, but you also need to pitch to training. So what we did differently each year was that we have a specific group of leaders, okay, and they're in charge of certain things in the group. So you'd be in charge maybe of the juniors. So you go and look at them, ask them how they're feeling, you know. So then you get to know them. By the time the games start, then you know how each person is going to react to certain situations. And it also brings you closer as more than friends, but more than like, it's like family at the end of the day.
Yeah. Hi, you've also heard it for yourself, but Actually, I want to know, you wearing a jersey today, and it's a very important jersey that you're wearing. Please explain a bit of detail on your jersey. What is it about?
Okay, so this is the seventh jersey that I wore this year for our Olympic qualifiers. Became special when we just got together like a week before when everything got finalized that okay, this is the team. Without really having played with most of the guys there. So, but then we went into the competition like, okay, let's see what we can do. And then that's when the brotherhood started, because after our first game, we were like, hey, we can actually do this. After the second game, we're like, hey, we can. And then we found ourselves in the semi. So that's why I was wearing it today, because I do feel proud of it.
Hey, ladies, you're proud of those jerseys as well.
Yeah.
Like, I thought if I wore it today, like, it's going to be too much for the viewers. So I was like,
Sorry. But no, I mean, it's a badge. It's a very heavy badge that you guys carry. But you come from Greenside High School. In 2018, you decided, I am going to play rugby. And now, 6 years later, you have represented a national team within the under-20s. You have played for Zimbabwe for quite this entire year, as well as you've played UJ15s, you've played UJ7s. There's nothing really you haven't done. What do you say to Greenside kids that are really, I'm not so sure, I want to, hey, it's a bit painful. What do you say?
I say go for it. Like, when I started rugby, I had fear, but then look how far I've made it now. So if you can't say, I don't know how far I'll go if you don't try, So like, if I hadn't given rugby a chance back then, I wouldn't be here today.
And funny enough, you have those long nails, but rugby play.
Off season one.
Okay, sorry. And Yasha, you've watched the World Cup. Is there any person that you can actually say, this is my role model, this is one person I can go back if I need motivation, this is one person I'm using on a day-to-day basis, not to be like, but to get inspired from?
That's a very hard question. It's a hard pick.
I mean, you're a lawyer student.
Oh my God, it's a hard pick, but I'll definitely take Peter Steph the Toit right now, because those tackles are something. Of course, it's a competition between the kicking, because I'm learning how to kick. Yes, but then it's him on the top right now, and if I could do just half as what he does, the work rate and everything, I'll be a star.
Oh, sorry. And I want to, before we go into our next game, which is hit or miss, I want to know whose parent was the most aggressive one when you started playing rugby? Or which parent, let's rather say, which parent was the most aggressive one? Who didn't want you to play rugby? Who was not sure that rugby was a sport for you? We can start with Calvin.
I think for me, it would have been my dad. Because for him, it's like, now you're going to school. So extramural activities wasn't like something that you see as an African parent. But then my mom, on the other hand, was the one that actually helped drive the shop.
Interesting, man. I thought maybe mom would be the one who's scared all the time. And like the ladies look like mom is the one who always complains.
Oh, you have no idea.
What did she say? Nyasha, her exact words.
My mom is very charismatic, but she ended up supporting me, actually. Her exact words, I would have to say those in Shona, and...
It's fine. Let's hear them.
Translate.
You translate. And it's like, are you trying to die on me? Or what is this? So my mom actually is a huge supporter, massive supporter of rugby, because she has 3 girls and all of us are playing rugby now. It's actually the dad who doesn't want her princesses to go into the rough game. But my mom has been really supportive, 100%, 120%. I used to be embarrassed as a kid, in high school. When she comes to the games and she would run on the sidelines with you. When you go into the try box, she's there on the sidelines. You're like, oh, that's embarrassing. But then the time you realize that there's actually a lot of love and support from her, and it's massive. Even until now, when she's back at home in Zim, it's massive. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. And Tanya, I'm sure mom, not so much of dad, because dad is actually a rugby player, but mom was the one.
my mom wasn't very much supportive when it began because I'd done athletics and I left it. She was like, she's gonna leave rugby also. So, and she saw, it's coming. Then, yeah, she's my number one fan right now. And my dad, obviously, because he plays rugby, he pushed every game he's there, anything he's there. So, like, yeah.
So you guys can actually agree that support does come in any forms of shape and sizes and emotions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's painful, but it's because they love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Before we start sobbing and crying, hit or miss. So hit or miss. Hit, the highlight of your entire career till today. Miss, something you've always wanted to achieve, but you fell short. So hit, highlight of your career. Miss, something you fell short to achieve, but it's a lesson. We can start with Nyasha. And tell us why.
Oh my
I want to
goodness.
know why.
Okay, this is really getting into detail now. So I'm gonna start with the hit, which was last year at the Varsity Sevens.
Yeah.
I had no idea I could run like that. Like, it was not in me. I used to be a really big kid, but I grew into what I am now. And Varsity Sevens last year, it was amazing. I did not know I could run. I didn't, but when I did get on the pitch, I couldn't even stop myself at running, scoring tries, in the sevens, so it gets more tiring than 15s. For the miss part, it's actually very bad. I've always wanted to be a multiplayer. I don't know. See, the words are running out of me now.
Utility.
But yes, that one. The utility player. I've always wanted to be that because I'm not too small to be a forward player. And I'm not too slow to be a backliner. Of which that's something I've been told over and over again. With different people, you meet different people when you play rugby. So some may think that you're not fit for this position because of your body size, and some may think that you're too small for this. But the thing I love about rugby is you can play anyway. Anyone can play it, any size, anyone. So I've always wanted to be able to fit in the forwards and fit in the back line as well. But that's actually really hard to balance, and I respect people in the back line a lot.
Okay, a superstar.
Yeah.
And then Calvin?
I think my hit and miss were last year in the same tournament. Having to go to Paris to go qualify, hopefully to play in this year's World Cup that we just passed now. So my hit was making it there and having the opportunity to play. And then the miss was missing out and losing against Namibia. And then that dreams got crushed there. But we don't give up hope.
And speaking of which, with the losing to Namibia was part of the World Cup this year. Just a slight comment. Do you guys think you could have done better in terms of performance within the World Cup?
That comes down to players-wise. I did feel like we did have the manpower to perform well at the tournament.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe in the next coming years, it's still there. Interesting. And Tanya?
My hit would be Varsity Sevens last year. It was my first year playing sevens for varsity, and I didn't know I could play like that. I was top try scorer and one of the players for team of the tournament, something like that. Yeah, and my other hit would be 15s, this year 15s for the ladies. As I was titled player that rocks for our first game. Yeah, and my miss would be I couldn't go to the qualifiers because I had to focus on school. So I would have really loved to go, but then
And speaking of school, you're currently studying diploma in sports management, and this is your second year.
Yes.
Why did you decide on sports management? Is it because you could maybe relate, or you thought it was easy?
There you go.
Honestly, I can relate, yes, but I also thought it was easy because it's sports, something I know, you know.
I see.
But hey,
What's challenging there?
I'm really struggling with marketing and business, guys. Ooh, I don't know what that has to do with sports, but I'm managing, okay?
And funny enough, we have someone who has a business qualification right there in front of you.
How, Kelvin, you don't say.
You don't know.
You don't ask is another
ask.
thing.
Okay.
Calvin, you have 2 qualifications.
Yeah.
First in logistics. Second one is an advanced diploma in business management. And academics and rugby and national call-up and captaining and personal life.
Yeah.
We could just walk away now. Walk away now.
Like the ladies say, just walk away, it's too much. How do you handle all of these things?
You know, at the end of the day, you need a good support structure. You know, you need to know when to play and when to actually be serious. Because as much as we owe business or school, we also need to get away from it. So you need good people around you
Yeah.
that can actually hold you accountable, you know, and they see you slacking, but hey, slacking, do this better or try and help you. And one thing here at UJ is there is a lot of support structure and they do put emphasis on trying to get you help, you know, so you should just seek it.
And one person who always holds you accountable is our law student doing her 2nd year. You every single time I talk about academics, one thing about you want to cry.
It's just the face. I just look like that. I'm honestly really happy in the inside.
Are you sure this is a safe space?
I don't know anymore.
Well, we're always here to encourage you to do better, to continue doing what you're doing. Law and rugby. Something, for example, we also have the women's captain, Babalalacha, law qualified student. So, I don't know. As much as you feel like giving up right now, I'm not going to be motivational about it, but it is possible.
It is, and you know, looking at people like that, whenever you feel like it's hard, because it does get hard, you just know that you have to keep going. Because there's also somebody at the back there who's looking up like, oh, she was a rugby player, she's, you know, a law graduate. And you need to excel. I'm not just talking passing, I'm talking excelling. So that's something to look at. You don't have time to pause and cry and say that, oh, this is hard. No, you need to get it. It's either you get it or you get it. You don't have other options.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either you get it or you don't get it. It's either you get it, you don't get it. And Calvin, you went to Victoria.
Yeah.
Primary school. How many years ago is this?
25.
No, I'm not that old. I'm not that old.
How many years ago is this?
High school wise, I went to Victoria Park High School. So I finished 2018. I went to
2018. That's roughly 5 years.
5 years ago, yeah.
And I want you to take us back to the first game. You said the first try you scored was your own try.
Yeah.
On your side. The feeling, the anxiety, the confusion with that small young boy, that young Calvin. I want you to dig deep right now, and what could you have told yourself that you have today?
I think I told myself to toughen up more. Because back then, if I didn't get something that I wanted, I just threw my toys on the floor, you know. And then coming to varsity, that teaches you a whole different side of life, where you don't always get what you want.
Yeah.
Where you have to actually work for it, you know, and not just like rely on your talent that you have, but actually to put in the hours and work. So that little me, I'll definitely tell him to work hard and toughen up.
Sure. And you played for the Eastern Province as well.
Yeah.
That's also a remarkable one. That little boy grew to the Eastern Province. From Eastern Province, went all the way back home to Zimbabwe to go play for the national team.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. Ladies, I know I've played with you guys. Fun fact. I've played with you guys. Fun fact. Here, where do I start?
Speed.
But I want to know, next year is a different season. You qualified once again for the Varsity Cup 15s. Qualified once again for Varsity 7s. USA, everything is coming back again. That same feeling you had during preseason last year, the tiredness, the fatigue, I'm not sure if I want to stay in the game, the lack of motivation when you feel like it's done. How are you going to change this time? What's different that you're going to do? We can start with Nyasha.
Well, you know, those kind of things, those thoughts are inevitable. They're going to come, especially when you need to balance your school and the sports you need to excel in both. So I feel like this year it's not pressure per se. It's like you've grown now. You're not the kid that was the first year last year. You need to do better because there's other people who are counting on you. So I think that what pushes me right now, that you've done this before and you can do it again. You need to do better, fix your mistakes where you didn't. I think that's something that is going to like hold me this coming year and this preseason we're facing, that you've done this before and now there's other people who relied on you the same way I relied on my seniors from the previous years, because those girls held me down. They like grounded me. So I feel like I should be that person for whoever's coming next, so that they have also a smooth transition into everything. So that's something I can't just let go and then throw it all to the wind. You have to be there for someone and you have to make sure that you're holding the team. I think that's something that's important in this preseason.
And one of those people who also helped you through the process was Tanya. She was part of your team. She made that team possible. Although she's smiling right now, only if she knew.
Only that I'll never tell her. I'll never tell her. Maybe you, yes, but her, nah, she's too good for that.
Oh. And Tanya?
I think because we know what it feels like Kiri, we've gone through it. We know how to handle it better this time. And I think starting early so that we don't have pressure on ourselves when it all comes at once. So we can handle it better then. But stay strong, push, and be able to balance academics and rugby. And we can do this.
We can do this. With those nails as well, we can do this. Kelvin, I know soon you're not handing over the leadership badge, but sooner or later, that will happen.
Yeah.
And to the next person who is going to become the captain, what badge, or the badge that you're handing over, what qualities are you also handing over?
So basically, we always preach about leaving the jersey in a better place, you know, and then the next person needs to have the same mentality.
Yeah.
So he needs to be able to hold people accountable, be disciplined, be a friendly person, be involved. You know, so those are the type of qualities that he needs to get from me. And that starts when I start seeing, okay, this is a potential candidate. Then you start sharing and teaching.
Yeah, speaking of captaincy, that is, ladies, leave the jersey in a better place.
Oh, well, 100%.
100%. Nyasha, you captained your under 18 team at the National Week. The captain or the Nyasha in 2018 and the Nyasha right now. Would you run for leadership?
Well, I could. I mean, I can. I could. However, it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
Something that I feel that I need to walk into with caution, because you're not just taking care of yourself now. You're not taking care of like 18-year-old kids. They're actually grown young adults that have their own opinions that you have to listen to and respect, and you have to come to terms with everyone's ideas. So I could. However, it's a process, and I'm trusting it.
Yeah.
Yes. So it was at the junior week. I think because of the chemistry that we had then as kids, you know, it's all vibes when you when you're there. You don't care about much. It's mostly vibes and just looking into the future. But now that you know and understand how actually important this is, it's such a huge responsibility. It's huge.
Phew, such an important comment right there. And I want to ask you, actually, I want to challenge you, Tanya, in terms of it's your second year, you're still a junior, you're growing it into the next generation. When you were in matric, that was 3 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Baby.
You're such a child.
And
Child.
you such a And when you're in matric, 2 years after you were kids who were in grade 10. That grade 10 learner is coming to university next year. They're currently writing their exams, as tough as it is. And she's not sure how she's going to find the university environment, whether she's going to blend in, peer pressure, whether she's going to be confused, what sports she must play, who to look up to, who to depend on. You are a true testament on trusting the process. So how would you guide those kids?
I would say stick to what you know. Don't come and try and experiment with things now, because some things won't treat you right, you know. And friends come and go, you know. So I don't know the word. What can I say? Follow in their footsteps, because we have different backgrounds. Ne? And what you do at home is different to what I do at home.
Yeah.
Ne? I can't now adapt to your lifestyle, something I don't know. I don't know where that will take me. So stick to your parents' teachings and pray. You'll be fine.
Stick to your parents' teachings. Oh, Mamedzi, your own words. Just wanted to make sure. And all the way in Zimbabwe, there's Harare, there's Bulawayo, where there's also other places I want to know. There's other. Nyasha is even smiling at me. Yes. Where in Zimbabwe do you come from?
My birthplace is Harare.
Harare.
Capital,
Okay.
Yes, but traditionally, my family, my roots are from Masvingo.
Masvingo.
So, yes, Masvingo is where there's the great houses of stone. Everything is built of stone, no mortar, no nothing, no cement. It's just natural like that, stone built. Yeah, but I was raised in Harare. We just go to the roots, to get in contact to the roots. But I was born in Harare. I grew up in Harare. I've done everything in Harare until now. Actually, I actually never had been out of the city until I started traveling because of rugby.
Oh.
So I can safely say until now, I have been locked down in Harare.
So rugby does provide.
Rugby does provide, for those opportunities.
Yo, leisure. We talk about leisure. Classic things.
Of course, maybe if you're an intellect as well, because the only time I got to get out of Harare was when I was in school, which is a few kilometers out of Harare, but it's still the same environment. Yeah.
Yo, Calvin, Harare, Bulawayo.
No, I was born in Harare.
Oh, okay.
My roots are from Kwantoko. That's where my ancestral realm is from, like that whole lineage. Then I moved to SA when I was 5. Okay. Then I stayed in Port Elizabeth ever since. But I still do go visit a lot because I still have a lot of family that side.
Tanya, Harare, Bulawayo.
I'm from Bulawayo.
The different one. Okay.
Yeah, my roots are Kweru. And born and raised in Bulawayo by my granny. Then I moved to SA for grade 6. And I do visit in December. I'm going home.
It's giving.
Giving.
But I want you guys to give me a perspective of what Zimbabwe looks like. For those who have never been to Zimbabwe, it's not Cape Town. Does not look like Cape Town. What does Zimbabwe, Bulawayo, or Harare have that Gauteng or South Africa does not have?
We have Victoria Falls.
Oh, sorry. We're not going to brag and compare, but you guys have Victoria Falls.
Yeah, we do.
What else do you guys have?
The Mashingos that I told you about.
Oh,
You should
sorry.
definitely
House of
visit.
Stone.
You should.
We have Lake Karibu, biggest man-made dam.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in Harare, or just outside Harare. But in terms of what Joburg and Zimbabwe, I think it's more safety.
More safety.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing. It's more safe.
Interesting.
And it's home, man. Home will forever be home.
Home is forever where the heart is. It's okay. We're not gonna fight you on that one. But when you guys talk about lifestyle-wise, what do you prefer, Zimbabwe or South Africa?
I think it depends on what you're looking for as a person.
Individually, okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at it individually. Which one would you prefer?
So I'm a more of an outdoors person.
Yeah.
So I like hunting, and Zim is a lot of hunting grounds.
Oh, okay.
So I'd prefer being there a lot.
Oh, okay. And Yasha?
Yeah, you know,
You don't look like you hunt. Whoa. Please.
I'm actually a very, reserved person, despite all this.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, Zim is actually very nice. It's very nice. But I also like traveling. Like I've traveled a lot since I was born. I've been traveling a lot, different countries, and I love that. It's the diversity, the getting in contact with different people, and not just being staffed in your own home. I love Zimbabwe. And I love traveling as well. So it's kind of a 50-50 that I'll always go back home, like always. And there's no questions about that. But I also love traveling and finding out, more about things, adventuring, different people, different cultures, that kind of thing.
Different cultures. When I like people,
Yeah.
you love people.
I love people. I can sue them
Yeah.
in time.
Tanya, what do you prefer?
I would say like Zimbabwe is a bit outdated, The last time I was there, let me tell you.
Just
You wake up at 6, there's no electricity.
Yeah.
It will come back at 12. Ne?
Yeah.
By the time you wake up again, it's gone.
Oh.
When do I watch Netflix? Hi guys. So I prefer Joburg, but home is home.
Home is always where the heart is. And I'm sure you guys have fans. This is a question we had prior to our interview. What do you want your fans to know that they do not know about you?
Oh.
And you guys are thinking so hard. What do you guys want your fans to know? I'm sure you guys do have fans. There are a lot of people who actually look up to you that you are not aware
That's so nice.
that they look up to you. So what do you want your fans to know? Besides you're single, what do you want your fans to know about you?
COVID can relate.
Oh, sorry.
Can't relate.
What do you want your fans to know about you, Calvin?
I think I'm a big softie, man.
You're a big softie.
Yeah.
So you don't appear as tough as you are.
Nah, I think I have a soft spot for people. I always like to help where I can. And yeah, that's something that they don't know about me.
Okay. Big softie.
Yeah.
You guys want a question? Anyway, it has nothing. It has nothing to do with me.
Doesn't.
Yeah, sure.
I am a foodie. I love food.
Oh.
I love food. The people around me will disagree with that, obviously, because they think I just like binge on small things. But I love food. Like, if you see me anyway and I'm not eating, better do
There's a
something about
problem.
that. I love food. It's only the discipline and the sport that keep me from being my real self. But with the food, man, I can be monster. Yeah.
And Tanya?
I don't know.
Besides groove, besides
What's
nice
that? I love people. I'm very loud. I'm very energetic. You'd say I do drugs, but I don't. I don't.
Disclaimer.
It's just me.
Oh, there's a disclaimer.
Me.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
All right. I think, guys, any last words? Anything you want to... Last words of motivation, encouragement 10 years later, you look back to this moment and say, I remember myself sitting there, very questioning my future and whether I want to go ahead and pursue rugby, or I want to go ahead and do my articles for law, or maybe I want to start my own businesses. And you look back 10 years later.
I would say be Nike, like just do it.
Sorry. Be Nike and just do it. And Yasha?
Yeah, keep going.
Keep
no matter
going.
what comes in your way, you just need to get there. Like I said, you only have 2 options: get it or get it.
Oh, okay.
Just keep getting at it because that's what you have to do.
Cover?
No, I think for me, it's embrace every challenge that comes. You know, it brings out a different side of you that you don't even know about yourself.
Yeah.
So accept it and keep moving forward.
And keep moving forward. That's what we do right here. Keeping it locked, keeping the interviews flowing, also bringing the gist of things that you may not know about our special athletes. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today. And as our outro, this is me. I need you guys to show me your favorite sign or gesture that best describes you. So it can be purr, it can be peace, it can be anything, just as an outro. So we can start, because we started with Tanya, we can start with Calvin.
Mine's love.
Hot all the way it is.
He's such a
Nyasha?
copycat. I could say he's such a copycat.
It's a hot all the way. It's those nails. We understand why. But from my side, I am Pumelelo Dlamini, also known as I am all that _sis. Please make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms. We are UJTV as well as UJ_sports. And from us to yours truly, bye-bye.
The University of Johannesburg, the future reimagined.